Hello, everybody. Good evening or good morning, whatever time zone you're in. I know this is a late one for those of us in the U.S. Probably not quite as late one over, depending where you are living. But we've got a SGL qualifier number 5 here. We've got JP and In the Name of DT here on our restream. I'm joined here by Krista Joy 730. How you doing, Krista? Seems like we've got a little bit of technical difficulties on the commentator joining, but that's fine. To introduce this mode, we've got the SGL casual boots, which is similar to regular casual boots with sort of a hard item pool. So they're going to start with boots and the sword for the casual boots. And as far as the item pool goes, it's kind of similar to what you saw in the hard item pool for the main tournament, if you watch that. However, it's just a little bit different with how it deals with hearts. So there's only going to be 3 heart containers placed, one of them Sang Heart, the other 2 boss hearts. And then there's going to be a bunch of heart pieces otherwise. So you can still get up to the 14 hearts, but you have to get up there through a lot of heart pieces. And unlike the other mode, we have silver arrows placed with just one bow. So bow and silvers separate. And then we've also got both the male upgrades placed, but you can only get one.
Hello, everybody. I don't know if you can hear me. I just had a little bit of tech difficulty. My deepest apologies.
Yep, we can hear you now.
Oh, perfect. That is why I love technology. So, as was previously mentioned, I am so excited to see what we're looking at in terms of watching and seeing greatness. And Uncle is absolutely worthless, except for, giving a little bomb money, which always comes into handy, right?
Yep, and we saw our map check. We see 2 pendants on Eastern and Tower of Hera, neither being green, and then we have a crystal on Desert. Something else to note about is we saw in Link's house chest a small magic decanter, which in this mode, that would have been half magic if we were not playing in the SGL style hard item pool, where half magic does not exist in this item pool. So in addition to what I was mentioning about the hearts and the male, we are capped off at 3 swords, and 1 shield. And then, like I said, with that half magic, it's not in the game. You just get that that little magic decanter.
That is a painful realization, especially considering that magic is your best friend, especially with rods and thin lantern. So it kind of hurts hard.
And there we see a bow in the escape sequence. So very nice to have that bow to go along with the sword. They can take that bow over to Eastern Palace and clear it, though with Eastern being a pendant, it's not quite as nice as if it had been a crystal.
Yeah, it's a sad day when you don't have to see any bottle glitches, So, but having early bow means early attacks, something a little bit better than the weak sword can do. And not to mention you get the benefit of distance attacks. But we're going through escape, and it looks like Brewers. Yeah. I think Brewers is just about a room and a half ahead, which is always good. But with escape, it's always a thing, dark escape. So I don't know if anybody's going to be planning on doing that. We can hope.
Well, so in this mode, in Standard, you get to the lamp for free through the escape game sequence, even if you come back. And there's the mirror in escape. You'll love to see that.
Goodness, early mirror. We're talking insta going back to the beginning, not to mention, for us no logic folks, I know there's probably a few of you out there in chat, that's instant map exploration glitch, but we can't have that right now. So
yeah, probably won't be seeing that today.
No, not at all. But we do get to see a little something with escape. So let's go ahead and see what that chest is going to offer us. Hopefully something really good, since we're doing, we got the bow and the mirror early.
Yeah, that mirror in the Zelda cell is so nice, because like you saw these runners do, you can just use the mirror and go back to the front of escape. So when you get the mirror in a boot seat like this, you can see a sub 5-minute escape, which normally you're happy with a sub 6, though in casual boots, you're probably more like sub 5:30. Yeah. But with this mirror, you can get some crazy escape times.
I know. Usually my average for escape is about 5:30 to 5:45. So to see this, we're going to see some fast movements. It's going to be escape. Bye-bye. Not today. And the good thing is, you can clear that without bombs. So just
Yep.
bomb the wall and you don't have to come back at all.
Yeah, in addition to the boots just letting you go fast, they kind of change up the early game for these standard modes a little bit. Because like you mentioned, you can just bonk that wall there. You can also bonk the wall in Sahasrara's hut. You can use the boots to check the bonk racks right out of here. And also you can set up a water walk to Zora or Hobo. So it does change up how you route the early game a little bit in these boot start modes.
Absolutely. The boots are key for so many checks, especially checks you would not normally see in the early game. And since these guys did get bombs, that does save you the $50 that you would normally pay for 10, for 10 bombs, which is something that we usually like to do in the beginning when we're in Kakariko. So
yeah, because you need those 3 bombs to check the 3 houses, and then you also need a 4th bomb or the boots to check the race game, though you can check it without a bomb, so they have just enough bombs to clear out everything if they need to.
Yes.
And we saw some 418 escapes here from these runners, so that's about as fast as you can see.
Yeah. Well, we have 2 very talented runners, that we're watching. Very, very, very talented, veterans of the game. So, we can expect to see fast times out of these guys. And what are we going to see is, it looks like...
That was a sword.
Yeah, that was a sword. Oh, wow. So...
yeah, so probably not going to need to get that sword, but if you happen to have to beat Aghanim, you're definitely going to pick it up.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
There is the shot that's just the best. So, like, if you find yourself in go mode minus a sword later and you just don't pick one up on the way, it might be debatable depending on what checks you've got left to use that for your master sword, but hopefully that doesn't happen to these runners.
Yeah, to have to go through and fight Aga 1, that's blah. Really, it's blah. I'm not a big fan of Hyrule Castle.
And the Lost Woods has not been anything particularly interesting today, so we're going to have to head on to Kakariko and see if what we can get over here to give us a little more insight on what to do here in this scene.
Yes. I always use Kakariko as a litmus test for me, because usually with all the amount of checks that's there, usually there's a progressive, an item for progression. So we can keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best.
Yeah, because right now that bow really just gives them Eastern Palace. The mirror doesn't really give them anything at this point, though if they get mountain access, it will give them a little bit more. So we just gonna have to clear out our rest of our Sphere Zero checks.
Yes. And so far, it looks like we may have had a heart container there. So nothing really productive, but we're still checking checks. So let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, I actually like finding heart containers early in this mode, because like I mentioned earlier, there's only going to be 3 of them. And there's the Moon Pearl, so that's another good item.
Yes, plus it opens the under the waterfall checks as well, but if you choose to do fake flipper, so it's always a thing.
And they're the regular flippers, so we don't even need that, but it's, yes, very good point. You have the flake flipper, though you could also use the boots to set up the water walk from Ice Rod Cave and still get the waterfall with this mode.
Absolutely, and finding the flippers does negate any fake flippers, so, we're looking at go, go, go. Call me the Roadrunner, meet, we are on our way.
Yeah, we got both of the pairs of footwear already for this seed. There's the
hammer. The hammer, wow.
So just a glove away from Dark World access. So hopefully, I like when we get some early Dark World access. Those can be some pretty interesting seeds.
Yes. The earlier to Dark World, the better, especially considering those Death Mountain checks.
Yeah, because once they get the glove will really give them a lot. Because like the mountain's not in logic, but with the hammer and the mirror, once you get to the mountain, you have a lot of checks. And if they have a glove, they can get up there. And also the glove just gives them Dark World access. So really would open up once we find one of those gloves.
And who knows, we may just find one of the gloves. Well, we have the blue mail, so that's perfect.
Yeah, I think the blue mail is very nice in this mode because with the hearts being as rare as they are, you'll sometimes find yourself like deep in the dark world with 6 hearts. But so it can actually be a lot harder than the sort of standard heart item pool. But if you get the blue mail, that really mitigates that, and it can actually be easier a little bit than the other heart item pool that you've seen.
Yes. And everything in the dark world does hurt. And the last thing you need is to be in a position where, you know, you're about to get to the boss and then boom, or if you're about to hit the item chest and just one unfortunate hit does you in. It hurts so hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing that blue mail will really help with is getting past the crabs on the way to Ice Rod Cave, because those guys normally do 2 hearts of damage. So when you're on 5 hearts is generally good, but when you're on 4 or 3, it can be a bit tenuous over getting up past those guys.
Did you see that chest? Oh my. It's one of my favorite items. Oh, praise be the single arrow. That's
Yes,
always
everyone's
fun.
favorite unique item.
Yes, that is the best item in the game as far as I'm concerned. You know, that's our sentient overlord that's watching over. Praise be the single arrow. It always comes through.
Yeah, and something we saw over on JP's side was that bush crab's giving out full magics, which is pretty nice. They don't have any way of using it, but sometimes you'll just get a magic item, and in the early game, you just don't get magic very much, so nice to be able to fill up there.
Yes, absolutely. And we actually had a very poor cave. So Moldorm
Yeah,
Cave
really
was
nothing.
nothing at all. And that kind of hurts. You know, at best, you kind of hope maybe, just maybe, toss me a couple of rupees since I'm going about this way. And then I can just go ahead, throw Zora in there. Because, you know, the Scamfish usually does offer nothing, but it's always good to check them anyway as fast as you can. Get it done and over with, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Both these runners are a little low on money, so they probably won't be able to get up there. Though something about these boost modes that you'll generally see. So, and there's $300 though, so maybe Zora's a little bit closer. But what I'm saying about the boost modes is that sometimes, especially in qualifiers, you'll see runners may elect to like skip Ice Rod Cave or put it off till a bit later. But with the boots, it's pretty much automatic. You always go there because just water walking over to Hobo versus Flippering is just so much faster. So it's so worth it to do this.
Truer words were never spoken. From a routing perspective, you definitely want to attack Ice Cave. It is always a bad thing to, you know, last location, especially knowing my luck, it always has an item that I need. And unfortunately, that was just a red rupee, so nobody will be getting that later. And Hobo, will he make us proud? Not really.
Yeah, we'll see if we're gonna get. So if we get 2 20s in the waterfall cave, then they would be short by 13 rupees. So hope we get a 50 or 100.
Yeah, you hate to see it.
Maybe we'll even see somebody take a shot at some Zoras and hope they're in the rupee pack.
Yeah, who knows? You may have somebody doubt it seriously, but you know, whenever you're broke, go for a hula hand. But they are actually on JP's side. He has started going the route towards Zora Town. Well, we'll see the waterfall check right now. Hopefully, it'll be enough to make this a one-shot thing.
3 more rupees.
3 more rupees. Might as well just kill some enemies and just get Zora out the way.
Yeah, it's possible they might know that the crabs drop rupees if they saw the drop pack in Hyrule Castle, though that doesn't look like it would have to be the fairy pack to drop a 20 eventually. Yeah, you see JP going around killing all these enemies, trying to see what drop packs they're in, but the birds are only going to give bombs.
Yes, most definitely. And it looks like DT is actually going the route of... Oh, did you see a cape?
Red boomerang.
It was... red boomerang.
Yeah, and unfortunately for JP, we've got the bomb drop pack, the heart drop pack, and the arrow drop pack over here, and none of those have any rupees. So maybe the Zoras should have one. Someone between the Zoras and the guards have to drop rupees. So these guys are either the fairy or heart pack.
Yeah, I'm seeing hearts and fairies, so That's unfortunate.
Well, no, this will have a 20 in it. So JP's going to have to do a little bit of farming if he wants to do it. But I think since he's already committed, I think we're going to see him go all the way to that 20. He's going to need to kill, I think, one more. There we go.
There we go. And
so we'll see how he's paid off for his farming.
And we have in Sahajrala's closet, we have the Ether Medallion.
And there's that glove. So definitely a payoff. JP is definitely going to be happy that he spent all that time farming the rupees, because that glove is really the key to opening up that seed. So this is going to be, in a qualifier, I kind of hate to see this, because like if you're like DT here, you're probably going to put off that glove for quite a while. And it's very important.
Yeah, you're going to last location, Zora, if you didn't have enough. Most of the time you just want to go fast, get your palaces done, see if I can complete this ASAP. And Zora just becomes a distant memory.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if there are rupees in the tree pull, because neither of these runners did a tree pull, and maybe that would be, because like there was no rupees in any of the drop packs that we saw on the way. And also, we see the silvers over there in DT's side. So if you're familiar with Hard Item Pool, generally they didn't have the silvers in the other mode. But this one we have one bow and one silver arrow, unlike the standard progressive bows that have been common these days.
Interesting.
And there's our Dark World map check. We got green pendant on Swamp, red crystals on Pod and Mire, and then crystals everywhere else.
Yes. So for those that are not familiar with what the red crystals stand for, it basically opens up the big fairy in the pyramid. And Pyramid Fairy does have 2 items. Plus, if you have an empty bottle, you can also check that to see what kind of goop she has for you.
Yep, and generally you could like to see, like, it depends what the crystals are and like how useful they can be. With Pod being a crystal and fully clearable, and Mire, we need the mitts, the flute, Mire Medallion, and Cane. So that knocks out a lot of stuff that could be in the pyramid, but there could still be Fire Rod or Ice Rod in the pyramid.
And we did get a heart container on DT's side.
Yeah, heart container and silver, so not terrible items in Eastern, but nothing very helpful in the media time. I think in this mode, if you're at 7 hearts blue mail in the early game like this, it's going to be a pretty easy seed in terms of not dying.
Yes, longevity is a thing, and this seed is generous.
Yeah, and something chat's pointing out is that there's a risk that DT could find Aga access before finding that glove. Though at this point, there isn't really much left for him to do. So he might just go right back to Zora. Still hasn't gotten enough rupees yet, though.
No, I believe he's at 494. So that does kind of limit his shopping abilities.
And most of the good rupee farming places, they use the glove, so it's not particularly easy to get to them. You can go into the rupee room over here in Eastern, but we'll see if it's kind of annoying to do that room in the dark.
Absolutely. It is not any fun, and just a compass on JP's side, so...
Yep, so there's still another item in the back of Skullwoods.
Yes, which we're not going to be able to see just yet, but that's always good, come back, because we do have some great items that do still open checks on JP's side, so, everything is open to him for the most part.
And we see 10 arrows on that bumper ledge. Not going to need to collect that today. Looks like JP is going to put that mirror to good use, go over to Graveyard Ledge and King's Team over here.
Yes.
And DT has collected his pendant. We'll see if that ends up being important at all. At this point, it would have to be for the pedestal because Eastern Palace itself was empty. Well, the silvers are nice, but they're not required.
I think the best thing you could possibly offer for Ped would be maybe 1 rupee And we have the powder on JP's side, so that's not really a progressive item, but very good from a, I need to save myself standpoint, especially if there's a bubble around, just refill health. And that does come in handy in GP as well.
Yep, and it's got that one check on the magic bat, which he can get to with that hammer. We'll see when he wants to get to it, because he can't do any of the smith chain or anything over there.
No, and we do have bombos on JP's side.
Yep, that bombos could come into play for entering either Mire or Turtle Rock, or it could even be Ice Palace access with the Fire Rod is late today.
Yes, definitely.
And just 20 rupees in Agina's Cave. I guess the one consolation for DT there is that now he has enough money to do Zora, which is most likely where we are going to see him go, because he really can't go anywhere else.
Yeah, there's literally nothing else for him to go for.
So yep, we see him making his way over to that area. Going to be a bit disappointed, but there's still plenty of race left to make the time back.
Oh yeah. Plus we have, GT, and I always call Ganon's abode, the great equalizer, just like in Zelda 2 when we have Great Palace. So things can always change in the blink of an eye. So, just because you're a couple of seconds behind or a couple of minutes doesn't always mean that that's the end of things.
Yep, you can definitely use smart routing and a little bit of luck and some good execution to make up an early last location like this.
Yes, execution is key.
And meanwhile, we've got JP over in Thieves Town. Haven't found anything too interesting in the front here. But,
No.
Make our way to the back. Since he has the hammer, he can full clear this dungeon.
And with that early boss key, that's going to happen.
And we're going to see a bit of a different approach here from DT. He's going to start with the Hype Cave and then probably get a map check here and then decide where to go after that. And DT gets his map, knowledge. Maybe we'll see him go up to Palace of Darkness, because that's a fully clearable crystal, especially since he's already over in Hype Cave right now.
Pod does have a lot of checks in there, so definitely a very smart idea to go there, even though a lot of people, and that's Quake.
Yep, Quake Medallion, they'll have to take a rain check on that to see if that's going to be useful or useless today. Quake Medallion is kind of you don't ever see people really use that medallion unless they've got no other ones, but it still can be required to open up those dungeons.
Oh yeah, because in vanilla, that's exactly what TR requires. So if TR is vanilla, we will be needing the Quake Medallion. Otherwise, you can get by with just Ether, Bombos,
So between these two runners, though, it's looking like the pod area is going to have the answer. Because right now, we've got DT has K45 and Shovel Game left, and JP has a few more checks and Thieves, but we really don't have anything else with regards to progression. I guess we do have some checks in Swamp Palace, but I'm sure you won't see the runners go in there very early because they don't have hook shot yet.
Yeah, that's not going to happen anytime soon.
So in these qualifiers, sometimes you may have people who think they're not really going to make it into the tournament, but maybe they want to take a chance and take a big risk, and those runners might want to go into Swamp Palace early, but these runners probably are going to want to play it a little safer. And this is actually some pretty good awareness by DT. Knowing that he only has 20 rupees, he needs some more money to be able to play that shovel game and also to get into Palace of Darkness. So definitely a good idea to play that archery game. And he's probably going to try to get at least 120 rupee and a 20 and a 5 from the shovel game to have enough money for pod after.
Absolutely, because Kiki will not allow you to go through at all. Not happening. And there we go.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to want those. That was actually really convenient, because I think he was at like 21, and he needed 20 to play that archery game.
And we're scooping up plenty of rupees.
Yeah, did a couple of extra digs because, there's still They should be mostly good on money. They've bought most of the things you need to buy, but you could still have to buy the big bomb, though it's probably not going to be that soon. They'll probably get an extra 100 rupees by the time that has to happen.
And for the most part, JP was keeping blind on script.
Yep, got a little bit away from him, but it's towards the end and was able to close it out still. But nothing interesting in Thieves Town at all other than that crystal.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of blind, so you hate to see it. Usually blind steals something good. Ugh.
Yeah, there wasn't even anything too great in blind sell either. So he hasn't been having a good day today.
Yeah, you do have those days, and we have a single bomb. Oh heavens!
That's a convenient 300 there for JP because he was in a similar situation as DT. He had 33 rupees, so he did not have enough money for pod or for shovel game.
Yes, and this does save him from having to play the archery game.
So yeah, sorry, I was going to say that we're going to see it. We're wondering where JP's going to head after here because you could make a Swamp Palace dip. It would be quite a gamble, but probably we'll see him go to Pod Ripe Gate. But it looks like he's going to do the Magic Powder while he's over here. And I like this here because it could be your progression, and you don't have like the flute or anything. You have no reason to come back here until you get the mitts. So you may as well knock this out now.
Absolutely. All right, Bat, you know you want to give something good. We hope. Don't disappoint us.
That's something good.
Yes, that is something very, very good. Woo.
Yeah, that turns Swamp Palace from a very risky gamble into a pretty nice play here because you can just full clear it now.
Yes, and this was a big brain move because there are many people that choose to do Bat at the same time they're doing Smith Chain. So the fact that this was dipped a little bit earlier, you get that hook shot, that opens up so many options for you.
Yeah, and that's just another place where I think JP is going to feel really good about his routing because not everybody does that North Dark World that he did. Like you saw him go to Skullwoods and then do Graveyard Light to Kingston, whereas DT elected to go straight to Village of Outcasts. And in this case, going to the North Dark World really pays off because then you have the powder while you're in Village of Outcasts. Whereas for DT to get that hook shot, he's going to have to make the decision to run right up back over to Kakariko after getting the powder, which may not be the decision he makes.
Yeah, he may opt to do the routing for that and include it with Smith's Chain much later, which unfortunately will hold him up a bit because there's no hook shot other than that.
Yeah, the one thing, so he could get drawn back there other ways, even if he doesn't elect to do it, though he may because just sort of playing safe to cover for someone who does do what JP did here. But he could find like the flute or the mitts that could draw him back, or the fire rod. So even if he doesn't do it immediately, there's still plenty of chances for DT to get back to that hook shot. And it looks like... Sorry.
Oh no, just as you said, we're looking at Hype Cave and then probably dipping into Swamp Palace, just like you mentioned.
Yep, it definitely makes a lot of sense to do Hype Cave here because you could get something like a sword that would make Swamp Palace go a little faster. And then, so with Swamp Palace we're really looking for the flute or the lamp right now, and that will kind of open the seed wide open because then that gives them the mountain area. The Titan's Myth would also give a similar amount of new stuff with Misery Mire, or not Misery Mire, sorry, Ice Palace and the Smith's Chain.
And here we go.
So, Krista, do you think that our next progression will be in a Swamp Palace or Pod, or maybe both?
You know, I'd like to say Swamp Palace just because of JP's great routing, it would be a great payoff, which might put DT behind a bit. But with Rando, you never know. It could come up a big old red herring. But it would be nice. Let's see, what if I had to wish for something? I want to say, I'm not sure what I'd like to see just yet. Because I'm a person who would be like, yeah, let's put the mushroom in there and then make the mushroom, lead to the flute, just a whole bunch of different, shenanigan things. And
we get to see a nice blind fight there by DT, staying on the script and killing him pretty quickly.
Yes, that was excellent execution. And I think he finished Thieves Town about a minute earlier than JP did due to the, better execution. But, JP does have those items that, DT doesn't have, the biggest one being the hook shot.
Yeah, I think it really depends. So if JP could be ahead by a lot or not very much, really depending on, first of all, what DT does if and when he gets this powder, and second of all, what sort of items are next progression. Because if we say we find the flute in Palace of Darkness, then it will probably be a little while until, well, no, because the flute would be good too. So if we find the lamp in Palace of Darkness, then the mountain, DT might get drawn up the mountain before going back to Kak for the magic bat. But if it's the flute of the midst, then he'd probably go to Kakariko and would probably do powder if he doesn't want to do it right away.
Yeah, it really does depend on what items, because if you see a certain, trend coming from an item, you want to just follow that through to the end. And not everybody thinks of the bat immediately. It's the same thing like when you get the mushroom. Sometimes, you don't visit Ye Old Witch until literally last minute. I've seen it last location so many times, which hurts, especially if there's a major item that they have.
And so with something we've seen here from JP is he elected to skip the left side of Swamp for now. We'll see if he elects to go back in. He might, because he didn't elect to go back immediately to turn in that big key he got in the sunken chest, but who knows? Like, it might depend what items he gets from Argus.
One thing I've always learned, and I've learned it the hard way, never ever forget to do left side Swamp, because it always has a way of having an item that you need and having to double dip. It just hurts so hard.
Yeah, definitely is a contentious issue with skipping or not. And we're seeing a nice strategy here by JP here. If you, so you may see the Master Sword double spins, double hook, but you can also do that with the Fighter Sword, but you gotta do double spin and double hook, which is tighter timing, but if you do it correct quickly, you can do it about as fast as the Master Sword. You're doing a pretty nice job of it so far.
Absolutely.
Definitely much faster than the good old menu fight where you switch between the hookshot and hammer repeatedly.
Yeah. But there's to bonk Argus is always fun to do too. Just bonk, bonk, bonk. And then at the end of the day, call it, just say bye-bye. I had seafood. I'm good. And Swamp Palace. Oh, he only has a red rupee. So that's real great.
Yeah, and so something interesting we're seeing over here from DT is he did not elect to go over and get that powder. So that's going to be a bit unfortunate for him, but he's going to sequence break the mountain here, and it definitely makes sense. There's a lot of checks up here, and for all he knows, and it could even be the case that he's just leaving behind the lamp down somewhere in Palace of Darkness. So I think if you're doing this sequence break, you always like to find either the flute or the lamp, because then you kind of know which one you skipped. So if he finds the lamp up here, then he knows, okay, I got to go clear out those southern stuff like Pod, Graveyard Ledge, King's Tomb, because he's going to need that flute. But if you find the flute up here, you might just ignore some of those checks, because if you just skip the flute, these runners, they're not going to need, or they're not going to need the lamp, except unless they don't get the fire rod till really late.
And that's the last thing you want late. There are two items you just really don't want to get late, and that's the fire rod and the Cane of Samaria. Like I have always been the type that the earlier I get it, the better.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to get that early fire source.
Definitely.
And we see that the big key to Hera is in the basement. Hera is a pendant, so DT says, I'm not going to put forth that minute and a half investment just for the big key for 2 items that might not even be good. Oh, and he also has no fire. Good point, Tracker.
Yeah, he can't do Harapot either because he doesn't have the hook shot. So
yeah.
It's just a situation where I just have to say bye-bye. I'll see you later.
And looks like we're going to see JP go back for left side swamp. Already opened up the big chest. Doesn't look like, I didn't catch what item was in there, but it doesn't look like anything new has come up on his tracker.
Okay, so on DT side, that was absolutely nothing at all. And hopefully for DT, he will find some form of progression, and a Master Sword is quite helpful.
Yeah, Master Sword is helpful, but not going to give us anything immediately.
Not at all. But if perchance the book is found, it will open up the tablets. So maybe, just maybe, one can hope. One should always be optimistic. That is how I try to look at it.
Yeah, and we saw in Swamp Palace kind of an insulting left side, getting the compass, the map, and the single rupee between the 2 left side chests and the big chest.
Praise be the single rupee. It is up there, but everybody knows that the single arrow is far better than the single rupee.
Yeah, now we're going to have to find something in Palace of Darkness, because even that sequence break that DT did, I mean, I guess he didn't do Spike Cave, which could have been done, but otherwise, there's nothing on the mountain, so there's got to be something like the mitts over here. You could also find something like the fire rod to give us 1 more item in Skullwoods, but it's really likely that there's going to be the Titan's mitts in Palace of Darkness here.
And we're going back into Sahazrala's closet to get ether. So now Misery Mire nor Turtle Rock will be an issue on JP side.
Yeah, and we'll see with the mitts in here. If it's just the mitts, I think that might be good for DT, because that's going to force him back over to Kakariko. And especially if Fire Rod doesn't show up, you have to go to King's Tomb to get the Bombos Medallion if you want to do Ice Palace. So there's really not much to do other than Smith Chain once you get the mitts. He could sequence break the mountain again, but if you're that far for progression, you might not want to do that. Whereas for JP, if he gets the mitts here, he's probably just going to... well, you beat a dungeon you can beat. Like Ice Palace, but you can also go up to the mountain because he can do basically everything up there.
Very true. So you're betting on the mitts. Okay, I'm gonna say Fire Rod.
Yeah, because we could have mitts and we could have lamp, and then like just because there's not the Fire Rod only gives us 1 item plus the green pendant, so 2 items. The lamp would give us 2 items in Hera, plus all the stuff on the mountain, but we've already seen all that and it's not very good. Whereas the mitts would give us Ice Palace, Smith Chain, and then even more stuff on the mountain. So that's why I think it'll be mitts, just because it opens up more of the game.
Very true, but you know, it's always good to drag it out a bit.
Yep.
Just for the sake of shenanigans. We are all about shenanigans.
Sometimes you get those really breadcrumby seeds where you get one item that leads you to 2 more items that gives you another item that leads you to 2 more items until you have go mode.
That is very true. And DT did find the best weapon against Aga, the bug net. So we're good to go. Aga's scared now. We already know.
Yeah, that can be very nice in the swordless modes because Hammer Aga is not very fun.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And as usual, Pod is being business in the front, party in the back. We've got the map and the bug net in the front, so everything else had to be keys. And then we're going to find some sort of progression in the back here. Most likely, still could be Catfish or Pyramid Ledge, but more likely that's Pod just because there's 4 more items, or 3 more items in here versus the 2 there.
It would be nice for it to be on Catfish, though. Then we can see who races to Catfish first. And
I don't think it's any question after this that you probably go to Catfish, unless JP is feeling like he wants to sequence break the mountain. For DT, definitely would go there because he's just got Catfish and then Graveyard Ledge, Pyramid Ledge, or Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb. And interestingly, though, these are not in logic, so that does make me think that the lamp might be out there if there's something down here. The lamp would be in like Catfish or something if we find some sort of immediate progression here.
Yeah, the lamp has to be in Catfish.
Though Harmless Hellway has an item, so and that's in logic with. Well, actually, I don't know if it's in logic without the lamp. I didn't catch where all the keys were. And there's our flute. So it looks like we that flute doesn't give us anything we haven't already seen, though.
No, not really.
Or except Spike Cave, man. Spike Cave. So maybe it is Spike Cave for progression. We'll see if Catfish or Pyramid Ledge is going to have anything, because these chests here are not in logic. So these dark chests, without the lamp, these chests are not going to be in logic. They could still be good, though.
Absolutely. Sometimes no logic is best logic, but not when you're getting the items that you're getting.
Yeah, 10 arrows not really too helpful. Heart piece not great either. But you'll probably, the runner's gonna very experienced with the dark rooms, able to do those rooms quickly, and they'll also see them go into Helmasaur. That turtle room in Palace of Darkness is one of the more difficult dark rooms, but these runners are very skilled. DT will probably appreciate having that Master Sword because him being an experienced no major glitches runner, probably.
Hey Dane, I don't think that we're being heard. Let's see. Can you guys hear us?
No, I don't know if there's any. I don't have the stream audio on. Yeah, they can hear us. We're good.
Okay. Yeah, because I had just gotten a message that said we weren't exactly coming through too good. So at least now we're coming through. You know, we were just talking about the sync between JP and DT in terms of, you know, where they're at in this particular palace. And we do have DT out there putting the bonk bonk to Helmasaur.
Yeah, we saw some good dark turtle rooms there from In the Name of DT. I saw him kill at least 4 of those right away with the NMG strategy.
Yeah, and you know it's going to go quick because once you bonk bonk Silver arrow, that's it. Helmosaur is a no more sword.
Yep, we just deposed the king of the Helmas and have gotten a crystal for it. No real items in pot other than that flute, but pretty nice. Also, we're seeing here JP using the spin speed setup to make hammering that jewel easy, which is very nice here because he's only on fighter sword.
Yes. And also without the silver arrow.
All right, so we're seeing DT going to go right over and activate that flute, and I think we'll see if what DT elects to do after this, because he doesn't have very many good checks left. He's got Spike Cave, which he now knows is in Logic, which might be an appealing option. He's also got Catfish, Pyramid Ledge, and then those two, the North Dark World. So he could elect to combo all those together, which would be very good for him to get the powder and the whatever's Catfish and Pyramid Ledge have, and also Bombos Medallion. Or he could go up to Spike Cave, which, from our perspective, Spike Cave is actually looking like a pretty good check.
Yes, and we do have JP who's going through Eastern right now.
Yep, it definitely makes sense here because he's right here. The flute does open up the whole mountain, but I think this is kind of like you're protecting yourself from someone else who would have dipped Eastern earlier, especially if they didn't get that glove, to make sure you don't forget something key here. And you're definitely going to feel good about getting those silvers. It's going to almost mitigate the time you spend in here.
Yes. And also having the hook shot in Eastern does save you some time in terms of getting certain chests. So, you know, it's kind of a win-win. Yeah, it would have been great to have the silvers because it adds to a great Helmosaur. But his bonk strategy was on point execution-wise, so really probably would not have made that overwhelming of a difference. But, it's good to see.
And you have silvers for bosses like Vitreous and Armos, and that's where you save a pretty significant amount of time. And we see here DT is going to do these North Dark World checks, which will be great for him, getting this powder and Bombos Medallion. You got to imagine he's going to turn in the powder quickly just because, one, he has the flute, two, there just isn't that many checks left in the game.
Absolutely. This kind of forces DT's hand in terms of where to go next. And that's absolutely wonderful because you can guarantee I'm going to bat. I don't have anything. I don't know what to do. So let's go do it.
Yeah, because if you don't get that hook shot there and you find the mids before, you can get tempted into a lot of checks that may not be that good, like Smith Chain or even going into Swamp Palace looking for that hook shot later if you don't come up here to get this powder. And we'll see if DT elects to go all the way over to Catfish from here or if he's going to just stop. Looks like he's fluting away. All right, he's going to go get his hook shot, looks like.
Which is absolutely the right thing to do.
Yeah, we'll give him the chance to go into Swamp Palace. We'll see if DT may elect to just skip left side swamp, though it is, if you count your items correctly, you'll know there's only one item in the 3 checks. So he may be feeling a bit behind because of how this seed has been going with the last locating of the glove and also almost last locating this hook shot. We'll have to see. And JP's gonna full clear this Eastern Palace, gonna go all the way to the Armos Knights here.
And as you previously mentioned, look who's in Swamp area.
Yeah, Swamp just makes too much sense right here because he only has Pyramid Ledge, Spike Cave, and Catfish left. Plus, and there's 6 items in Swamp, so definitely more appealing here. But unfortunately, we know that there just isn't anything good in here. We'll see if the play that I'm looking for here as DT is if he elects to commit to a left side skip here because it would pay off for him. And it's definitely, I think, reasonable for him because he might feel a little bit bad about the glove and hookshot location.
And that would be the smart thing to do. But sometimes if you're a very thorough player, You clear left side swamp, and we do have a heart piece.
Yeah. And then the other thing to point out is that this is a qualifier. So like these runners, neither of these runners are really trying to win this race, because like somebody could just hit the God route and win this race by a decent amount. You just want to get a good enough time so that your qualifying score is going to be good. So that's the argument to do left side swamp here, I think.
Very true, very true. Now, if you're in the brackets, that's a different story altogether. But in qualifiers, you just want to make the bare minimum to make it in there, you know, because there's always going to be someone who lucks out and has the God route. Or, you know, Julo's around and Gamma's doing commentary, then he would just say clown routing. And,
Yeah.
and you got to be proud of clown routing, because that's the no logic way. Woo! And we do have JP, who is getting his duck action going.
Yeah, this will give JP a lot of appealing checks up on that mountain, which we get a Master Sword and a whole lot of nothing from those. I guess Kana Burna puts Spike Cave into logic, which is a little notable, but not really that great.
Yeah, and to be on the safe side, I really would clear left side swamp, so I wouldn't be surprised at all, because you're looking at what the seed has given you already, and you have to say this seed has been so stingy in certain respects, and you have to say, what I need progression. I need something that's going to get me going, you know. So you're going to probably think, let me check for fire source.
Yeah, definitely. We're seeing him do it right here, and I think if you're someone who's either going to do it first or skip it, you definitely make sense to do it here, especially because there's the only argument for skipping it is if it's you do the back first and see if there's only one item there. But yeah, if you're going to do it first to save a little bit of time, yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Definitely.
We're seeing DT go for this bomb diver down setup here, trying to clip into that railing and then jump down onto the water, but having a bit of a hard time here. It's not trivial to do the left side diver down with bombs. But DT able to get it.
Yes. You know, I would find it so hard to do it with a cursor.
Yeah. It looks like the cursor is the same height as Link, so you can still use the same visual cue. You just have the cursor point right at that solid black line on the stairs, and then you place the bomb.
And I won't lie, I hope I'm not the only person, but you know, you kind of get antsy when you're looking at DT side, because you're thinking that somehow your mouse is moved.
I'm a big fan of the cursor spray. I think it makes it fun to watch that.
Well, those who know me in the Zelda 2 community, you know, they know that I'm a big fan of the Chicken Squad, which are all of the bird knights that are in Great Palace. So my sprite is actually the cuckoo sprite. You must fear the chicken.
So we will get to see some new checks here from JP, though, because it's very likely that he will do a Hera pot here to get at least one of the items from Tower of Hera. And we'll see when he elects to do Spike Cave. It can be a bit awkward, but he has the hook shot, actually, so it might not be as awkward for him to route it, whereas DT did not have that.
No, DT probably would have died if he had attempted Spike Cave, because there's no bottle, you know, no curative aspect that could be used.
Well, you can actually do it with 3 hearts and the Cane of Burna and no bottle.
Oh yeah, definitely, but he does have the Cane of Burna, doesn't he? Blue Cane. Yeah.
The old man gave it to us, and it's actually not in logic. That's something I forgot about. So it looks like Catfish and Pyramid Ledge are gonna have something, because yeah, that Cane of Burna is not in logic. So Spike Cave itself is not in logic yet either.
It would be nice to see.
Yeah, so it's like I was thinking that would be a really good check, because if it's one of your last in logic checks, it's probably going to be something, because it's like a 1 in 3 chance to be something. But now looking at that, it looks more like it's a 1 in 2 chance that Catfish or Pyramid Ledge has something, and it could just be the lamp, but it could also be the miss. And that might be why DT elected to not do Spike Cave, because he paying better attention to me, realized, hey, my Burna's out of logic. I don't have any tape or bottles, so it's not in logic to do. And our first item we got from Tower Parrot was just 10 arrows from JP. We'll see if Moldorm's going to be nice and give us the other item, or if it's going to be in the big chest today.
Ooh, how unfortunate.
Yeah, that's going to be a pretty late location for both of these runners if it has anything, because, I mean, there was really nothing they could do about it. Neither of them had a fire source, and they're pretty late into the seed. It's pretty late to not have either the lamp or the fire rod.
Yeah, you have to wonder where that lamp is hiding. I really am holding out for Catfish having the lamp.
Yeah, definitely in the realm of possibilities here. Catfish having lamp, or Mitts, or Pyramid Ledge having one of those two. All right, so DT is finished with Swamp Palace. So he looks like with him walking north here and not mirroring, looks like he's going to show us Catfish and Pyramid Ledge. So we'll get to see what sort of progression those two have.
And Rick's favorite vacation spot, which is Spiral Cave, came out shooting blanks. So that was disappointment in a can.
Yeah, at least in this mode, you're never going to have to do Spiral Cave without the boots or a sword. All right, so interesting check over here on DT side number 1. Let's see if Pyramid Ledge is going to be our progression today, or if we're going to have to make the long walk to Catfish. There are those mitts.
Wow. That just opened up a lot of things on DT's side. So,
Yeah.
I don't see JP hitting that right at this moment.
Yeah, well, I think JP will go there after this because he just doesn't have anything left. It looks like DT is going to go up to the mountain first, and he's got Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny up here. And then the other things that these guys get is Smith Chain, which is probably not super nice to do right now. Ice Palace, which maybe you want to wait for the Cane of Samaria to do Icebreaker for. And the Misery Mire area, but you definitely want to wait for the Cane to do that dungeon. But they also get Desert Palace too, so the Mire area is a pretty nice option.
Yeah. Someone in chat did mention that they hope Catfish doesn't have Samaria. Imagine that. That would just be plumb pitiful.
Yeah, that would be really rude, because that would be the sort of, this seed could have such wide ranges for a qualifier timing, because there are going to be some people in this seed who went Pod and Catfish and Pyramid Ledge right away, right in the Dark World. They've had mitts for 30 minutes now. I guess 50 minutes because of the 20-minute delay. But there's that Cane of Samaria, so I guess that's not happening today.
Nope.
And I think if you're DT, you're feeling great about finding that Cane of Samaria here, because there was a bunch of different paths you could take, and all of them get made better by having the Cane of Samaria. So you know you made the right choice there, because now when you go to Mire, you can full clear it guaranteed. You have all the medallions. When you go to Swamp Ice Palace, you can Icebreaker. So I think if I'm DT, I'm feeling great about that Cane there.
Oh yeah, that's a big time advantage. Big time advantage.
Yeah, and like we've seen, JP was kind of ahead for like this whole sort of seed just because he got to his glove and stuff earlier. But this mitts being a bit of a bottleneck, I think DT's got a little bit of an edge on him now, and it could be even bigger depending on where JP elects to go once he gets those mitts.
You know, I think JP is actually going that route because.
Oh yeah.
So.
He's going to get his mitts for sure, because he knows there's only mitts and Catfish left. But where he goes after the mitts is what's interesting to me, because you can go to Ice Palace, and it's a decent argument, I think, to go to Ice Palace, because there's 6 items up on the mountain that we saw from DT. Ice Palace has 3, but it's a fully clearable crystal. And then Mire has about the same amount as the mountain. Though I think the one thing, with wanting the Cane for Ice Palace and wanting a fire source for Mire and Desert, it does make the mountain the best option, I think. So maybe we'll see him make the same choice.
Okay.
Now, if Catfish has something like the lamp, though, that could be pretty big, because we don't have another fire source yet.
No, not at all. And I'm really holding out. I feel good about the Catfish having the lamp or fire source.
And also, something to point out before it gets too late, that ice rod was an Ice Palace today, which is pretty on point, on the theme. It was in the Pengator room today.
Yeah, you can't get mad at it. That's great. Okay, come on, Catfish. You know you want to give something good.
Yeah, this is the fire rod or lamp. That could be pretty big. But nope, he just loves us a little bit today.
You know, I try to always be optimistic about you, Catfish, and every time you disappoint me.
No, Catfish only has good stuff if he's your absolute last location. That's the only, he knows when you're desperate.
Yeah! And trust me, Catfish and no logic seeds always has something. Oh man, this hurts. And as you mentioned, there's the Ice Palace dip.
Yeah, so JP is going to lose just a little bit of time to DT here because he's not going to be able to use that Icebreaker glitch that we saw on DT's side. And if you're full clearing Ice Palace, it's such a time save to do Icebreaker. If you're go-moding it, it's not that big of a time save. But with these runners both full clearing it, DT is going to save like a minute and a half just being able to do that. And yeah, Chad asking about go mode. Yeah, you're correct. It is. We just need that fire rod today because we have all the medallions, so we don't care what Meyer or Turtle Rock are. DT didn't even check the Turtle Rock medallion because we have all of them. We don't have to care.
Nope.
And we'll see if the good old-fashioned rule of fire applies here and we find a fire rod in Ice Palace, though I think that might have been our last item there in the Ice Tea room with the blue room.
Yeah. I don't think it's in Ice Palace now. If it wants to really be mean. Ooh, let's see. Where could we go? Catfish has disappointed me.
Well, I think all of the options are not great because, like Smith Chain, you never really like to do Smith Chain. It's not a fun check. I'm not a big fan of the Smith Chain. With the mirror and flute, it's not bad, but I don't know. There's a lot of people that just don't like Smith Chain, me included. But then the other really bad option, and I'm sure DT would feel pretty bad if it's this one, is Turtle Rock, because Fire Rod can be in Turtle Rock. It can be all the way on Laser Bridge, and he was already up there, but made the decision to not go in.
That would be nasty, and that would be nice at the same time. So yeah, why not? Let's put Fire Rod on Laser Bridge just for fun.
And it's kind of a difficult decision what you do. I think the Smith Chain might be the best option right now because you really would like a fire source before you go over to Desert and Mire at this point. But Desert and Mire is probably the most dense area left, so I don't know. I don't know if it's the most dense when you don't count the fire checks, but there could just be a lamp or fire rod over there.
Yes, worst case scenario would be Hera.
Yeah, Hera would be terrible. If it's like, well, at least you can't have lamp. So the thing is, the Tower of Hera big, it can't be the lamp and the fire rod. So you're gonna have to find one of those, which would at least let you clear Mire and Desert first. But fire rod in that big chest of Hera would be pretty rough.
Yeah, and we love to see rough. We love to see the challenge. And DT did clear out Ice Palace.
I think that these runners already got bottlenecked by the mitts, or DT actually got bottlenecked by both of the gloves. So I'm rooting for them to just get the fire rod over here, maybe in Mire Shed, and then just be able to finish out the seed.
Yeah, Mire Shed is a very good option.
We got Mire Shed and Checkerboard basically for free, and then it's a bit of a risk if you wanted. I mean, you can't have the lamp on Vitreous, but you could have the fire rod on there. But you can't, Mire is just a risk because you might not even be able to get the big key in there.
That is true.
Something that would be quite annoying though would be something like Turtle Rock having the lamp and then the fire rod being locked by the lamp somewhere in Desert Mire, or even the dreaded Tower of Hera big chest.
I would like it, you know, me personally, but everyone thinks I work for Ganon anyway, but that would be a great setup, but that is something that we save for the brackets. And there's Fire Rod.
Yep, Checkerboard Cave Fire Rod, very nice. There's a DT is in go mode now. We'll see when JP elects to go there. So basically, no matter which direction, I guess if JP goes to Mire first and then elects to do a Mire dip, that could be pretty bad for him. But if he goes and gets that cane, first, then he'll be good.
Also, JP does not have the Cane of Samaria either, so
Yeah. So it's really, does he go to the mountain first to get that cane, or go to the mire area first and find that fire rod?
I would say go get the cane first, and then, because you don't want to have to, kind of leave. Granted, you do have, the float, but you really want to have everything, all your ducks in a row for optimal running.
Yeah, and the main thing, like, if you know the cane's up there, you definitely go to that first. But it's kind of this choice between the mountain, which is 6 items, and then the desert mire area, which is 3 to I guess it's 4 to 7 items, depending on the item layouts of the dungeons.
Yeah.
You have to get at least 1 from desert, and you could have both of the mire ones locked.
And one thing that we have not found, surprisingly, was any bottles.
Yeah, so in this mode, you're allowed. There are all 4 bottles are placed, I believe, but you can only get 2. But yeah, it is interesting to see go mode, no bottles. At least they have silvers, because like if you're in go mode, there's no half magic here at all. If you were Master Sword with no silvers, I don't think you're really in go mode. I mean, these runners are so good. Maybe they can do the perfect Master Sword silverless fire rod. But I would not want. I would consider myself not in go mode if I was sitting there with Master Sword silverless and no land.
Yeah, better get some torch glitches ready, and because magic would be a thing with no bottles. Ooh, just the thought of that. Especially with my aim, sometimes with, the fire rod, we have a love-hate relationship. But
yeah, you need to be literally perfect with your triples, unless you could get the double free hit, and then you can miss 2 triples, I guess. But with the fire rod and Master Sword, you only have just enough magic to get all 24 spins.
Yeah, and that's with a wing and a prayer and a hope that you don't mess it up at all.
But the silver arrows are really a godsend, and it's not a guarantee that every runner got the silvers here, so they could be sitting on Master Sword with the no bottles, but maybe they'll probably just be a bottle or something in GT, or maybe the lamp. So I guess the lamp can't be a GT.
Well, it depends on how fast you find the big key, because you're really not going to deep dive, GT if you find the big key early looking for a bottle. You're really not. You're just going to take the top half, go beat and Agatu, and then be done with it.
Yeah, so, I would consider it personally, because I know I can't just do Master Sword Silver with no bottle or lamp. But yeah, these runners may elect to just skip it, because maybe you find a sword even. All right, so JP has found his cane, which is great. So now JP should get his go mode pretty soon. It really depends, though, because he might make the Turtle Rock dip. If he does do that, you kind of hope that he gets locked out pretty early, because like I said, you can get all the way to Laser Bridge sometimes without the fire rod. Most of the time you get locked out before the Chain Chomp room, but not every time.
Yeah, and this would probably be one of the cases where you could pretty much go through everything in Turtle Rock, just as a red herring. We've seen it happen. So, and as expected, DT is just flying.
Yep, just got to beat Desert Palace and Turtle Rock and GT.
Yep.
And yeah, JP going into Turtle Rock here makes a lot of sense. Most of the time, you just get locked out for 1 check. You don't want to have to climb the mountain again to have to get that fire rod, so it makes a ton of sense to go into Turtle Rock here.
And it was Bombos that was needed.
Yep, we're having all 3 medallions. We didn't see DT want to check that, because you already know you've got it, whatever it is.
Oh, absolutely. You didn't have to. Who needs knowledge when you got everything?
And looks like DT is going to go for some fire rod strats here. He probably just prefers those to the silver arrow strat you could have, and does a pretty nice job here. That short hop from the first one made the one cycle very difficult, but able to get a quick 2 cycle.
Yeah, that was very good for an ice, for a fire rod strat. That's excellent.
And we see 1 key from JP, so he gets to progress through Turtle Rock. He needs to get another small key to continue to progress, and they would need to get the big key to be able to progress further after this.
Yeah, and if JP does get those keys, then it will be unfortunate, as he will continue.
All right, so that big key locks him out, which is definitely good for JP. Just got to do a little look into Turtle Rock, and now gets to go where he needs to go to get that fire rod.
Absolutely, because there's not too much you could have done anyway if he did, deep dive it, because Trinex needs fire. So
yeah, and he wasn't able to get the key either. So
right.
The key itself requires the fire rod.
I mean, imagine just going up to Trinex and having to rub 2 sticks together for fire. Just like, wait a minute, I got this. And you're there trying to rub 2 sticks. That's not going to bode well. And, that's why you always try to have as much as possible. And howdy ho, JP is in the right neighborhood now.
Yep, he'll be getting his go mode very shortly.
Now we do have someone dipping Turtle Rock that can actually go ahead and full clear it.
Yep, and unfortunately, Turtle Rock doesn't really get that much faster in go mode. We're still going to have to see him open most of the chests. Maybe you get to skip the lava chest and some of Laser Bridge and the big chest, but it still takes a long time because it's just such a linear dungeon.
Yes. But like you mentioned, this is the qualifiers, so it doesn't matter who comes out on top exactly, except you may get a guaranteed spot. But as long as your time is competitive, that's what matters the most.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's in a seed like this, you could definitely see somebody get, like, they can play pretty well. It's just a couple of routing decisions they made didn't pay off, and you end up getting a bad time. And that always feels bad in qualifiers. So you're just trying to get a good enough time so that whatever time you get here doesn't tank your score. It really depends, I guess, on what your other scores are like. So sometimes if you got a couple races that didn't go well, then maybe you want to take more risks. But yeah, there's a lot of dynamics that go into how you have to play the race versus like a head-to-head.
Yeah, because usually when you play head-to-head, you're far more aggressive than you would normally be. But, with qualifiers, you can be a little bit more laid back, kind of less risk-taking, less gamble. Or if you're just a clown router, hey, don't change. Just be clown routing. You're good to go.
Oh, and a tough chain chomp for him there from DT. So gonna have to go through. It's not the worst place to take a death in terms of time loss, but it is definitely frustrating.
Yeah, you always hate when he chomps your biddies. And that, can make for a bad day, especially in a bracket match. Now that would be a real unfortunate turn of events.
All right, round 2 with the chain chomps. Got some pretty bad RNG from left chain chomp both times there, so he's being a bit mean.
Yeah.
And you see him waiting on that peg to use the iframes. Very nice, able to play it safe and get it the second time. And this dark room that JP is doing, it's definitely not free. So this is one of the harder ones, but able to get through it.
Yeah, I loathe doing Misery Mire without the lamp. Oh, it's just such a pain.
Yeah, I kind of have to wonder where's that lamp gonna be today. I mean, I guess it could be in one of. I don't think we got all the items in Mire, but it could be. It could even be in Turtle Rock, I think.
That would be kind of mean, and that's okay.
Yeah,
That's
I've seen the lamp in Mimic Cave a disturbing number of times.
Yes. Oh man, and that is the biggest feels bad moment when it's in Mimic Cave and you're just like, oh well. Oh well, not too much I can do about it.
And JP is probably very happy to have this powder here because he's down to heart and a half. With Silver's Vitreous, you can still beat it with a heart and a half, but you don't want to have to do that. Just
No.
embarrassing.
You always need just that extra bit of insurance. But that was excellent all the way around on JP's side execution-wise. So yeah, that one heart wouldn't have really made a big difference. It just would have had a lot of beep beeps during.
Yep. And this dark room that DT is doing, it's actually pretty easy because you just got to remember which directions to hold when you're on this little roller coaster here.
Oh yeah, and that's for anyone who's interested in starting out with Randomizer, Sakura Tsubasa has one of the greatest guides online where you get the map layouts, and if you study them really hard, it does help with dark room progression, because there are going to be many seeds where you do have to do those rooms dark.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know. I still pull those up that side up time to time. If sometimes you have to do Dark Aghanim, which I haven't memorized those ones, but there are some modes where Dark Aghanim comes up, and that can be quite helpful to complete it. Just have it pulled up when you're in a race, and then you can refer to it. You don't even have to memorize it.
That's very true too.
All right, so DT making his way over the Trinex, and then we'll just be able to go into Ganon's Tower.
Yep.
Using the hammer here because it does more damage than the Master Sword. We'd have to get pretty lucky to get a Tempered Sword here because we already know one of the swords is on Lumberjack Cave today.
Yeah, so that sword is just going to be remaining there, just like the pet. No action, nothing.
Oh, this is tough though, because now DT is going to have to go all the way back to the front of Turtle Rock. This is where not having half magic or a bottle really hurts, because with Hammer Trinex, if it goes wrong early and you miss a shot, then you have to be very careful, because that Ice Head generally is going to take 3 shots, because it's really hard to get 3 hits on him in one cycle.
Very true, very true. And that's why I've always been, even if it does cost me a little bit of time, I would try just a few checks just to make sure. Worst case, Mimic Cave may have a bottle. You can hope. Anything.
Yeah. At this point, it would have to have Green Goose or Blue Goo in it specifically to even help, because they're not going to climb down the mountain to get the potion.
Oh, that's very true. They probably wouldn't do that, but also, if I feel that maybe my Trinex skills are a little bit on the lackluster side, you may want to invest maybe a minute to go get the goop and then call it a day, just so you have that safety vantage point.
Another option you have is you can open that safety door, and then if you mess up, you just mirror out, and then you can get the magic refill rather than having to go all the way through Turtle Rock here. But with runners of these caliber, they're confident in their Trinex skills, but if the fight goes awry a little bit, sometimes you just get a little bit slow, and one of your hammer hits on the firehead doesn't count, or maybe he moves in a way you weren't expecting, or like DT had the Ice Head fire, it's shot really quickly. Just those little things can throw off your rhythm.
Oh yeah, those nuances can really be a pain, and you're just hoping against hope that the movement set will be kind to you, especially when you have no bottle at all.
All right, so try next round 2 for DT.
And fight! Ding, ding, ding! Let's go!
And Ice Head being quick again to spray it.
Ooh, there we go. We have one.
Yeah, he's looking good this time. He's able to get the hammer out quickly, so just going to need one more shot to hit. Very nice.
Yes.
All right, able to dispatch the main Trinex head over there on DT's side, so he'll be collecting his 7th crystal. So when you get your 7 crystals on this channel, we like to play a nice, fun little game where you guess the location of the Ganon's Tower Big Key. So there is going to be 22 locations where you can find the Big Key in Ganon's Tower. So you can post your guesses in chat between 1 and 22 as to where you think that Big Key will be. And I think that we should start up the bot. Generally, the tracker handles that, but the bot should be working now, right? Oh, no, the bot is not here.
Yeah, the bot is on vacation right now.
He's been on vacation for quite a while, but you know what? Sometimes you need it. Sahabot puts in a lot of work.
Yes, it's a hard-working bot. So where do you think, if you had to put up a number, what number would you choose?
I normally pick number 14.
I'm going 22.
You like to be mean to these runners.
You know, it's always fun to have that extra, little bit there. It makes for fun. It makes things fun. Plus, it also, if I put it at 22, it means that they will have checked, and it's number 1.
Yeah, number 1 today.
Well, now, all you can say to that is, let's still dip just a wee bit, but I don't think that's going to happen.
No, you don't go in. These runners are going to be fine with the loadout they've got, Master Sword and Silvers. With no Silvers, it would be debatable to go in and try to find either another sword or a bottle, but...
yeah, that's it, exactly.
With the Silvers, they'll be fine. Yeah, and that lamp has got to be somewhere like Mimic Cave or like another item in Mire we didn't do. It's got to be somewhere really weird.
Could you imagine if it was in Ganon's house? That would be awesome.
It can't be today because I don't know if it's ever, like, you need to have no lamp locked dungeons. So you have to have Eastern not be locked by the lamp, you have to have Pod not be a crystal, you have to be Turtle Rock not be a crystal, Mire not be a crystal. So I guess it's possible, it's just really unlikely for a map to be able to be in GT.
Yeah, it hurts. Like I said, I come from no Logicville, so that's always a thing.
Or you can play Entrance Shuffle, where you can find the lamp in GT, and not that infrequently.
Oh, yeah. But if I had to guess, I really think, before I had it on Catfish, he let me down. So I would say Mimic Cave, just for fun. And because nobody would ever go see it. Because the more shenanigans that's in a seed, the better the seed is. And then you have everybody who, Clown Routes is Happy Route, and that's all you want. Just lots of fun. And this is where the powder does come in handy on DT's side, because he was able to use it on that ferry.
All right, so JP making his way into Trinex, he's doing a good job on that Firehead so far. Let's see if sometimes you get the thing where the 3rd hit doesn't count, but was able to avoid that, so on track to deal with his Ice Head.
Yeah, close call though. Ooh.
Yeah, gonna have to worry about not taking too many hits here. So he's gonna let this head do a hit and then line up his shot. And yep, able to kill it, so just needs to be careful on this big head and should be okay.
Yeah, and got to keep your fingers crossed for that,
And meanwhile, in the name of DT, almost finished with his climb here. He's going to make his way past the mole dorm.
And DT is making everything look like pieces of cake. And Trinex is now try no more. So we don't have
very good. Because that was not, whenever you get down to that low of health, it can be a bit worrying, but JP able to keep composure and defeat that boss.
I am so happy right now. Did you see that item that DT just got?
Yeah, that shovel. Maybe that's where the last sword is.
That's the greatest sorta item underneath the single arrow is the shovel. You know, as you can hear, I'm probably one of those people that's Clown Town. So I praise the single arrow. Think that the shovel is great because I'm the type of person, if I make your seed, your shovel is on ped.
And we saw in the name of DT was not very happy about that 300 rupees from the mole worm chest. Probably wanted a sword.
Yeah.
Because at this point, like, there's just not that many checks left of the game. We've got like pedestal, we've got all the tablets, which the book still hasn't shown up. We got Smith Chain, and then we've got some of the items in dungeons we go about it like GT. So it's probably just a GT.
Green Pendant was which dungeon? Because I don't remember off the top of my head.
Skullwoods.
Because Skullwoods? Yikes. Because you could say, if since you find the fire rod first, you could say Green Pendant lamp, maybe. Because everything that would be a thing, but it's unlikely.
Could even be pedestal lamp because Eastern Palace wasn't lamp locked today. But no more of the lamp speculation. We've got DT going into his Ganon fight, which is not going to be the easiest Ganon fight. Anytime you have Master Sword and have to do all those spins, it's a bit annoying, but shouldn't be too bad.
And Ganon is reminding us that we did not bring the bait from Zelda 1 with us. So that's unfortunate. We're sorry, Ganon. We brought light into your lair and we didn't bring you any food. We are horrible party guests. And like you mentioned, this is just not any fun at all. Master Sword Ganon.
Yeah, Master Sword, no cape, no bottles, so you're just going to have to play it a little safe and go slow, because you definitely don't want to take a death after getting to the second phase here.
Absolutely.
And DT just a little short of getting the 2 cycle here on this phase 2.
Yeah, to chat, to give you a little bit of history about me, I'm a no logic player. So there's absolutely nada in terms of logic for me. So, when it comes to looking at the logic of seeds that I see, I have to learn and abide by logic. So I don't play too many logic seeds, I'll be honest. And, DT is having, how do we say it?
Just got to keep his composure a little bit. He's past the hard part. Just got to get... Unfortunately missed the... He got the double there, which is really nice. He should be able to get another double here and he'll be done. Very nice there.
Yes. Let us get our GGs for DT.
Yep, get your GGs in chat, and then GT just needs to cross this bridge, and he'll be the first one to finish over here on our restream. And in the name of DT finishes with a official time of 1:27.18, and actually that's good enough for second place in this qualifier overall. So great time there for DT. Anytime you get in the top 3, you're feeling really good about the amount of points you're going to get. And yeah, that definitely just goes to show, like, GT had a pretty bad luck about being 13 rupees short of Zora, but able to make a good comeback here and get second place in this qualifier.
Absolutely. That goes to show you that anything is possible. So it doesn't really matter how far behind you are in the beginning stages because, you know, there's always that route divergent that you may take that causes you to get an item and be way ahead of the game. And that's what happened in this case. DT came back from behind and emerged victorious in this restream.
And we're joined here by In the Name of DT. So good game in the name of DT. Very nice second place finish in this qualifier.
Good evening, I guess good morning. Hi.
Hello.
So, any first thoughts on that seed?
Honestly, I'm amazed that nobody got sub 80 on this. Like, hindsight's always 20/20, of course, but this actually seemed like in a big race setting, like a couple people should have god routed this.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised myself too, because like you mentioned, you got kind of bottlenecked by the mitts, the glove, and the hook shot. So you can kind of imagine a world where someone plays just like you did, but gets those items a little bit earlier. But I guess those items were just so scattered that nobody did the route that got all of those early.
Yeah, evidently not.
So how are you feeling when you got those gloves off Zora after being like 13 rupees short the first time you were there?
I mean, at that point, there wasn't really anything to feel. It was I knew that Zora was going to have something for progression, whether it be a glove or the flute, or I figured it was most likely a glove. I didn't have anything else, and I knew that I was leading up to that, so I didn't know if other people were going to have the same rupee issue. I figured it was possible. There wasn't really a whole lot. I mean, there was a 300 somewhere somewhat early, but
yeah, I think
like you don't know the prize packs of the enemies, and so
it would have to be like a tree pull or something. Because yeah, JP, who you're facing on the restream, he farmed Zoras who were in the fairy pack, but none of the guards in Escape had any rupees in that. So yeah, I think you're right. Unless there was a tree pull that gave rupees, it was a lot of people were going to be having that many rupees.
Yeah. I mean, something that could have been done differently, like even the back of Blind's Hut or the Kakariko Well, like there's several pots of blue rupees in both of those locations, and usually I get all of them, but since I think it was there that I picked up a 300, so I was like, yeah, okay, you know what, I'm fine. I don't need to pick these up. And then, of course, I'm sure it was more than 11 rupees that I left behind there.
Yeah, it's but definitely good that you were able to come back from that, really showing how you can come back from last locating something early in the seed like that.
That's just the luck of the draw. That has nothing to do with skill and rando.
Well, rando it's a good combination of skill and luck.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's not always kind.
No, it can be very cruel, and where the lamp ended up being was one of those cruel locations, so you can't even get mad at that. I won't say anything, but it's not in a very fun place. And
lamp is optional. It's fine.
Oh yeah, you managed and traversed through those dark rooms like it was nothing. You made it look easy. I'm sure there are people who are watching this that are new to the randomizer community, and now they just said they wanted to be like you when they grow up. And it's always
I doubt that. They don't know me.
Well, they see the good play and they're like, you know what, I want to be like DT when I grow up. So
yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, because you do make a good point. Like, if anybody new to the game or interested in trying it, is watching, it takes a lot of time, to learn these things and to understand exactly what's going on. But I don't know. That's all. Like everything else, it just takes time and practice.
Absolutely. Study the maps, learn how many chests are in each particular palace stage, how many chests are in the overworld, what opens what. And once you really start practicing with that and, you get used to it, then you can eventually become like DT. And you actually do have someone, DT, that wants to be like you when they grow up. So chat does favor you, my friend.
Yeah, and so on the topic of that lamp, something that is interesting, you got the silvers out of Eastern, and if someone were to have a really good route through the sea, they probably don't go into Eastern. And then you're in the situation where you're on Master Sword Silverless with no bottle and no lamp, so that could definitely come into play.
I didn't consider that. I realized that the pendants were all useless. But that's a really, really good point. Like, if someone routed the way that I did early and they had the 500 rupees, they're in the Dark World. They're not going to Eastern right away.
Yeah, because especially if you got the... So, like, for JP, by the time he got to Pod, he only had, like, Catfish. Well, I guess he had the mountain stuff, too, left, but there wasn't that many places left, so he also went into Eastern. But I could definitely see someone routing this where you just don't get anything. And then I think in that case, you might want to just look in GT for a bow or a sword or something.
Possibly.
Or a bottle.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a clue where another sword was aside from the one in the tree, which nobody was going to get.
Yeah, no way. And even the bottles, like, they're supposed to be. You're supposed to be able to get 2 bottles in this mode. It's not bottleless.
Yeah, that hurts so hard.
Yeah, you know, the first qualifier I did had my first and second bottles in GT, and then this one, yeah, like, none. Anywhere, I don't know.
Looks like chat's saying one of them's in the Tower of Hera Big Chest.
Yeah, I'm trying not to mention anything from chat just in case somebody might be stream sniping.
Oh,
So-
it's a 20-minute delay, so basically anyone should be done by now.
We hope, because if you're doing Master Sword Silverless, no bottle, that's a really rough Ganon fight. That's really
No
rough.
lamp, too. Like that.
Yeah.
That would've
Sorry to
been awful.
interrupt, but JP has finished also with the official time of 1:33:32, which is good for 14th place in this qualifier. So definitely a respectable position. He's probably not going to feel too bad about that spot.
That's absolutely fabulous. You know, these times are good because I just know that there's someone who's going to be doing a Ganon Master Sword Silverless. I just have a feeling. It's like when you can tell a rainstorm coming, you know, with your knee. It's because that's a similar route that I would take.
And we're also joined here by JP. So good games, JP. Congratulations on the, I believe, 14th place finish.
GG.
Thank you.
JP.
And how did you feel about the seed?
I don't know. Well, it wasn't too bad. I mean, I hit my usual goal of getting like a 90 score in these, but I kind of just came out of it feeling a little, I don't know, a little like a missed opportunity. Mostly because of the mitts. I knew after Pod that there was basically probably something either in Catfish, Pyramid, Agena, or Eastern. And after I cleared Eastern, I knew one of those 3 spots had something. Kind of wish I had pursued it because I would have had a better time if I had. But, I mean, that's the biggest thing. And then just at the end of the seed, my execution wasn't too crisp. So, but otherwise, I mean, it was a good run. I mean, it was a good seed for me. I just kind of ended it on a kind of a bad note for me. So I kind of left it feeling a little not as good.
Yeah, I definitely can see why you say that, because you were actually really hitting this route really well early. Like, you got that, you farmed the rupees and got the glove from Zora, and then you got the powder early and got the hook shot early. So you were really coming up and making some of those really potentially bottleneck decisions early. It's just that you missed the mitts were the one that you didn't get. But I don't know if anyone got all of them this seed.
I mean, based on the times, I'm guessing not. I mean, I was listening a little bit before I jumped in, and I think DT's right. I was surprised. Like, I was even Turtle Rock, nobody finished. And I'm like, how is nobody done? This feels like a seed that somebody should have just god routed and put up some insane time that made us all look like fools.
The theory I have about that, JP, is I thought I spent a lot of time thinking about alternatives for routing in this seed. Like, you get Dark World access, you have Mirror. Pyramid and Graveyard Ledge are both kind of not fun locations. So you do one or the other, not necessarily both, right? But if you do Pyramid in this case, you get Mitts, and could potentially wind up having Swamp as your last dungeon, because then you're looking for Hookshot. You go to Graveyard Ledge, get Powder, go to get Hookshot, and then, I mean, you're a bit more limited. Like, all that opened was a useless Swamp, but I don't know, like the routing could have changed a lot depending on how you got both of those. I don't think anybody goes to Pyramid, gets mitts, and then they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to Graveyard Ledge.
Yeah, that's true. I could have done Pyramid right after Swamp because I ran from Swamp to Pod. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the only chance. And the thing about that, though, if you go and you get those mitts and then you do pod, you don't go into Eastern, and then you're sitting in GT with Master Sword Silver with no lamp or bottle.
That's true. Yeah, I mean those silvers ended up being pretty big because I don't even know, like doing Master Sword Silverless without any bottles or a lamp. Like you've got to be perfect to nail that.
Absolutely perfect. Like triples every time, with no exception.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get the 2 free hits early, I guess, but that's not guaranteed.
Yeah, and that's so few and far between, to be honest. I would see people having to replay that just because you had one missed opportunity, and that would extend everything substantially. That, whew, you just say, you know what, am I going to continue to waste this kind of time, especially if you're consistently failing? You know, do I just try to find something? You know, it's just blah, you know, because there may be people that, you know, just forwent Eastern and just lost the opportunity for those silver arrows. And it's just, it's just,
Yeah. Yeah, this would have been really rough. I mean, and even at that point, I start to wonder, what would I do? I mean, I guess I could do Ganon to get the Silver Scent. I could mirror and do Aga, go grab Tempered Sword, and go back. That's another option, I suppose.
yeah. And really, I think Skull Woods was green pendant, so probably people would want to go to that just because you get the extra check for the green pendant. And I think Eastern was blue, and it just depends on how people, you know, play the game, and you just hope and pray you just, you know, made the right decision in this case, which both of you did, which allowed for very competitive times. So be proud.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of little things. I mean, there's a lot of little things I wish I could have changed, but most of it's rando. Like, the rando stuff, you just gotta brush off because that's luck. Like, the execution stuff, I need to work on a little bit. Like, end of my seeds are a little too frantic at times, but yeah.
Yeah, rando is rando. That's something that all of us have learned, you know, and you just shake off whatever negativity at the end. When you finish it, you're like, yes, I finished. Just, you know, wipe it off and just be ready for the next battle, you know, because obviously these times are really good. So I would bank on qualifying, so that, you know, let's keep.
I mean, with 3 scores over 90, I'm not worried too much about qualifying at this point. You know, I'm happy with my scores. My goals is basically each race has been to get a score over 90, and 3 races in, I've done that, so I'm happy with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not overly worried about qualifying at this point. I just need to put up one more good race, and I'll be fine.
See, then that's what you do. You shake this one off, and you just move on. You prepare for the next one. Hopefully, it will be a little bit kinder in terms of at least giving you guys a bottle.
Yeah. Honestly, it was actually even a little. If you want to even go back further, go back to the start of the race. You could say that the seed taunted you a little bit because it gave you the little magic right in the first chest that is supposed to be the half magic if they hadn't taken it out.
I know. I felt so bad. I was like, feels bad man moment, because half magic would be nice, but unfortunately with this set, it's not going to happen. So it does hurt a little bit for that. But, you know, it does get your hopes up.
I do have to say one thing that was nice was a 4-minute escape.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were both just stoked at the fact that both of you finished Escape 4 minutes and change. And, you know, because most of us, we finish what, like 5:30?
It's nice when you get the mirror in Zelda Cell like that.
Yeah, I mean, the mirror was why that happened.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
I'm never that lucky. But the fact that you guys got early mirror, did it looked, at one point this could be even a jet seed. Woo! And then it just kind of stalled out a bit. But like I
I
said,
never had that impression, honestly.
well, for some,
Like the first hour of the seed was incredibly barren until you eventually found Hook and Mitts. Like up to that though, there wasn't much.
The Dark World dungeons were just so empty in the Pod, Thieves Town, and Swamp. Like you got the flute out of Pod, but then really nothing out of the other two.
see, I need to bring you guys into the no logic side of things. Anything that's under 2:30, 3 hours is actually a good thing. So that's a jet for me. So, but I think it's just so, I think you guys did great considering, what this seed had to offer. And the great thing about Rando is that it's not going to happen again. Or you may get something even better. So let's just keep our fingers and look for team optimism.
Yeah, we've seen some of these qualifiers be finished in the hour 5 mark by the first place finisher. So it's can be crazy sometimes when you got 70 people running. Somebody's bound to hit that route.
Yeah, and that's where I guess qualifiers like this one are better to be in, just because when you get the higher times, you just have a better chance of posting a good score. So, but
yeah, and if you say lose, so if the person who God routed has extremely good execution and you lose a couple minutes to execution in an hour 20 seed versus in an hour 5 seed, you get a better score.
yeah. But yeah, I think like I said, I'll leave this with a good feeling, at least with the 90. I'm planning to go again on Friday, and yeah, we'll see where it goes from there.
Alrighty. I will be looking forward to seeing you guys in action again and to see where this tournament leads us.
Yep. Yeah. GGGT. Good to race you on the restream, and yeah. Thanks for SpeedGaming for the restream. Thanks to you guys for commentary. Thanks for the trackers, and yeah, thanks for all the work you did today.
Yeah, definitely thanks to both of you guys for agreeing to be on the restream, and for everyone in chat, definitely give these runners a follow. They put on a great show today, and you'll get to see them doing practices or other runs, so it's great to follow the people in the community and interact with them on their streams.
Yes, absolutely. These guys, we thank you so much for the great entertainment and the fact that you were willing to stay up late with us, because we're all just hanging out on the East Coast, insomniacs. And, you gave us a good thing to watch instead of boring TV. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for SpeedGaming for allowing a little low ZSR commentator come and join you guys. So I'm really, really happy about that. And I think chat, most of all, everyone, you guys are awesome. Please remember that.
All right, so I think that's going to be it for us today. Thanks for everyone who joined us. We'll see you next time. We've got another qualifier coming up on Friday, so you can tune in for that. There's also plenty of Link to the Past Randomizer league action coming in, so just follow these SpeedGaming channels, and you'll get to see some of those.
Okie dokie.